Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes, heading on the road up north to Blacksburg, Virginia, to play Virginia Tech. Now, there's two different ways at looking at this football game. Number one, Virginia Tech's not a very good football team, but at the same side of things, Lane Stadium in the month of November, that is a very difficult place to play. And then you look at it from a Miami Hurricanes fan perspective and say, all right, Mario Cristobal in the month of November on the road has not been the most trustworthy head coach. Can Miami go on the road and take care of business? Because I firmly believe this. The version that we just saw from Miami against NC State, of which I believe is a very quality NC State team, that version of Miami, if they look that way against Virginia Tech and then they go on the road and look that way against Pitt, that's going to be a nearly impossible football team to leave out of the college football playoffs. And I'll say this, the committee has already told us that they value the eyeball test. Now, they have all their fancy numbers that they want to use as well. They care about what these teams are. There's a reason why we still have humans in charge of the decision-making process. Why was Notre Dame that much, or I should say, ranked that much higher than Miami when the first initial rankings came out? Because Notre Dame looked like a better football team than Miami in the month of October, even though Miami had beaten them earlier in the year. Miami needs to pass the eyeball test. And if they can do that, they put themselves in a spot to sneak into the college football playoffs, regardless of what happens around them. Because again, I firmly believe that team that we saw against NC State, if they can do it again for the next 2 weeks, that's a team that people want to see in the college football playoffs. I promise you that. Let's get into the matchup here. Again, Virginia Tech, how many different ways can they test Miami? Maybe in a few different ways. Before we get into it, as always, Miami fans, Virginia Tech fans, let it fly in the comment section. The amount of support for these preview and prediction episodes, it's been amazing. I can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into this one. Now, let's start with this Virginia Tech offense that, look, it's just one-dimensional. Now, the good thing for Virginia Tech is the fastball that they want to use, that rushing attack, is pretty damn good. Like, I think they got a really good running back. They got a quarterback that can use his legs as well. They run the football 56% of the time. That's 35th most in the country. They average 5 yards per carry. That's top 20 in the country. They do it in a lot of different ways, including design quarterback runs. The problem for Virginia Tech is they don't really have two dimensions to this offense. This passing attack, 5.7 yards per pass attempt. It's 130th in the country. They're giving up a sack on 7.8% of dropbacks. That's 110th in the country. It's really hard to run the football against this kind of defense when you're one-dimensional. If Miami does not need to respect what you can do pushing the ball down the field, really difficult to run the football against this defense. And I got to give we've stressed it all year, but I do want to take some time and really appreciate this defense. It is a complete 180 from what they were in 2024. Corey Heatherman has not only come in and cleaned up some of the discipline issues in this defense, it's the culture, it's the mentality of this defense. That there is not many more physical defenses across the country than Miami's. That's a mentality thing that Corey Heatherman has brought to Miami. Like, when's the last time when we've talked about a Miami defense being one of the most physical teams in the country? That's what Miami is this year. And they're good at all three levels. And I think the concerning part, if you're Virginia Tech, is you're going up against a run defense that's given up 2.7 yards per carry. That's top 5 in the country. This is a top 5 rushing defense in the country heading into this matchup. And what I really like about this defense, all three levels contribute to stopping the run. They got a defensive line that, as good as Ruben Bain and as good as Akeem Mesidor are at getting after the passer, what I absolutely love, what's going to make them both first-round NFL draft picks, their ability to stop the run as well. Both absolute hammers, getting off blocks, setting the edge, creating negative plays. Then you look on the inside, guys like Ahmad Moten or David Blair, Justin Scott. Then you look at the backers. Look, the Miami backers, it's not just been Mo Torre. It's not just been Wesley Bassane. I think Popo's starting to play some really good football. You have some linebackers that are flying around the football field making tackles. These safeties, They come up and tackle as well. Like, it obviously started with Keontae Scott. And I know Keontae Scott's out with an injury, but there was nobody better at that nickel cornerback spot supporting the run than Keontae Scott. That's actually kind of a storyline here. Bryce Fitzgerald played a lot of nickel for Miami in replacement of Keontae Scott against NC State. Thought he was damn good. He's going to be tested in his ability to come down and fit the run. Is the true freshman up for the task? It's a really big storyline because, again, if you're Miami, if you can stop the run, I'd be really surprised if Kyron Drones can beat you through the air. The storyline here is keeping Kyron Drones in the pocket. When Kyron Drones goes back to throw the football, don't let him go play backyard football. Like, the Miami fans remember that from last year. That's why Virginia Tech stayed in this football game. Miami was a poorly disciplined defense, and that's when the cracks in the foundation started to emerge. Couldn't keep this kid in the pocket to save our lives last year. Got to do it here. Like, make Kyron Drones beat you from the pocket because he has not shown you the ability to do so. Flipping the sides, this Miami offense going up against the Virginia Tech defense that just is not good. 32.8 points per game allowed. That's 116th in the country. 6.1 yards per play, 112th in the country. Not great against the run, not great against the pass. You feel like Miami can do what they want. This is more about Miami than it is about Virginia Tech. Go out and execute. Continue to avoid the pre-snap penalties. Continue to avoid the drops. Maintain the explosiveness that we've seen in the run game. Because I'll say this, and I give Shannon Dawson a lot of credit. I was critical of Shannon Dawson. I know damn well a lot of Miami fans were critical of Shannon Dawson. The offense felt stale. It felt a little bit tight. It felt like it lacked creativity. It's not been the case. It flipped in the second half of Syracuse. It's almost like Shannon Dawson said, hey, screw it. We're going to go out and just spray the board with a lot of different personnel groupings, a lot of different formations, a lot of different plays. That creativity has been awesome to watch. Like, I think my biggest takeaway is this Miami offense, they having fun out there throwing the football around and running the football. It's a lot more creative. It's a little bit more fun. And I think the players are playing that way too. Big storyline, Gerard Pringle, man. The Miami rushing attack has been a disappointment throughout most of the year. It just lacked the explosiveness. It was an efficient rushing attack. They were good for 3 or 4 yards a carry. They didn't have that ability to grab those chunk plays. Going into that game against NC State, Miami only had 14 carries that went 15 plus yards on the year, which is astronomically low considering how much Miami's run the football. In comes Gerard Pringle. He had 3 carries that went for 15 plus yards in that NC State game alone, right? He's brought some juice to this Miami rushing attack. Now, is he a guy that we're going to give 25 carries to? Look, I think they gave 17 carries to him against NC State. I was really surprised with his ability to run behind his bads and take that kind of workload as a freshman. Keep giving him the ball. Like, good things are happening, and we're getting a little bit more versatile in terms of how we're running it. It's just not a ton of duo and inside zone. We're going outside the tackles. We're doing a little stretch. We're pulling guys around. I loved the creativity that Miami ran the football with, and I loved how Gerard Pringle ran the football. When you run the football that well, all of a sudden Carson Beck looks a lot more comfortable throwing the football around, right? Keelan Marion has emerged as an absolute difference maker for this offense. It felt like at times when CJ Daniels went down, we were kind of one-dimensional with Malachi Toney. Well, now you're seeing Keelan Marion really step up in CJ Daniels' absence, and we're pushing the ball down the field and waiting of explosive plays. Man, Shannon Dawson, look, you're playing with house money here. Go have fun and go call this offense in creative ways like you've been doing for the last game and a half. And if you do that, it's the best version of this Miami offense. And you get that version of the Miami offense combined with the defense that we've seen from Corey Heatherman all year. And I don't know how much the committee will care about this. This is just more my personal take here. And I'm sorry, I'm going a little off-roading now. There are a lot of teams that are in the hunt for college football playoff spots. And I'm a Michigan fan. I'll raise my hand and say Michigan's one of those teams. There are not a lot of teams in that category, the Michigans and the Miamis, that I think can really win a national championship. Miami's one of them. And you look at a team like BYU. Like BYU's in the hunt to make the playoffs, but if they get into the playoffs, are they going to be that competitive in the playoffs? Are they going to make a run and win a national championship? No. Miami's one of those teams, man. Like, you make no mistake about it. Miami plays their best football. They can bang with anybody in the country. We've seen that from them throughout 2025. Go be that team the last 2 weeks of the season, and it's going to be hard for the committee to drop you out of the college football playoffs, or I should say, leave you out of the college football playoffs. We'll pause it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.